good morning or good afternoon, depending upon what time you are watching this video today. Today it is myself playing Mr. Hall. We're doing a bit of Space Marines versus Chaos Space Marines and Demon Allies. This is a little shot of the board before the game begins. Unfortunately I couldn't get into my train, so it's kind of a little bit of a hodgepodge plus what Michael brought with him, but I think it looks okay in the end. We are going to be playing Crusade with 5 objectives. There is one over here. There is one here. There is 1, 2 and 3 there. The deployment type is Vanguard, with the Demons and Chaos Space Marines going in this corner over here. And the Space Marines, who also have turn 1, we're in this corner. And we'll go through armies. Right then guys, I'll just go through the Space Marines army. I don't know whether or not this is going to come up that well because it's a shiny table, but we'll give it its best shot. I'm taking Najal Tiggy Awesomson, because obviously Tigerius is that goddamn good. You can probably tell right next to him is the other awesome thing, which is a, I've got its name, Thunderfire Cannon. Thank you very much. Okay, the bulk of my army is 5 tactical squads with mixtures. I've got a couple of W melters, combi melters. I've got some plasma squads in there, and I've got a las cannon. One of the squads isn't showing at the moment here. Down here, the Blood Angels Marines are counted as Legion of the Damned, just using a few proxies to try things out. They have a multi-melter, a melter and a combi melter. And the Old School Marines is representing 5 Stern Guard veterans with no upgrades. I also have 1 and 2 Storm Talons, both with the Skyhammer missiles. I have a 5-man scout squad with a combi melter, and they are mounted in their land speeder, whose name eludes me right now. And also have 2 rhinos, which belong to the 2 multi-melter squads. And for my psychic powers, I did pretty well. I've got perfect timing, prescience, and foreboding, which is the 4+ invulnerable save.
Okay, so today I am bringing the Forces of Chaos, a bit of a mix between Marines and Demons. My Warlord is Typhus, just because he's more chance of surviving the game than the Demon Prince, who's my other HQ. So because I've got Typhus, I have a big squad of 35 zombies. We have the said Demon Prince, his usual loadout, he's got wings, he's got armour. I took a Gift of Chaos which gave him +1 weapon skill. Woot woot, wasn't the best roll. He's also got the Black Mace, and he is dedicated to Tzeentch. Now these guys down here may be painted red, but they're actually Nurgle Chaos spawn. Then we have 20 Demonettes in the Chaos Demon contingent, they're led by an Alares. We have 2 squads of Plague Marines, one 5 strong with 2 plasma guns, and one 8 strong with 2 melter guns. We have 2 Obliterators, also they are Nurgle. And then we have, from the Demon contingent, 9 Screamers, led by a Herald of Tzeentch on disc. He's a level 3 Psyker. I've rolled for his powers, I've taken Prescience, I've got the one that gives me a 4+ invulnerable save, so that's quite useful, and then I got the one that gives me Overwatch at full ballistic skill. Not the best power there, but the other 2 make up for it. He's also got an Exalted Gift, and he has obviously taken the Grimoire. We have a Rhino for the 8-man squad of Plague Marines to ride around in, and then, what a shock, we're playing Chaos, there's a Helldrake! Okay, we both deployed, so I'll quickly go through deployment. Mark has basically deployed a load of tactical marines at the back, so he's got tacticals over there. He's combat squadded all his squad. So how many, did that give you 11 scoring units, was it? 11 scoring units. 11 scoring units, I'm not liking that much. So he's got his Thunderfire half obscured by a statue of a Space Marine in the centre. His 2 rhinos have combat squadded his 2 melter gun squads inside, but all 10 men still inside, or just 5? So they've still got the full 10 men inside. Tigerius is up on top of this hill with the Devastators, and then over there we have another half squad of tactical marines. The Stern Guard are the really old dudes hiding behind there. Mark's obviously reserved his 2 Storm Talons, but I don't think anything else. Oh, and Legion of the Damned.
Yeah, well, everything that has to be in reserved.
Yeah, so he's reserved all those. So I have set up over here, we've rolled for night fighting turn 1, and I've kind of like set slightly further back than the line would give me, just to get a bit more cover turn 1. So I've got a massive horde of zombies over here, which Typhus has deployed in the middle of. The Demon Prince is deployed here, basically because the 2 candles and the large statue of a lady standing in the centre of the table, watching over us all, praise be her name, is protecting me from the fire. Even though they can redeploy using the Ultramarine combat tactics, I am still out of line of sight. The Screamers deployed in a long line behind them with the Herald at the back, because obviously Mark's going first, I don't get a chance to get off my psychic powers. My 10 noble guys are sitting in their Rhino. Unfortunately, there wasn't really any way to get the Rhino out of line of sight because the Demon Prince was more important, so it's just standing there protecting some other Plague Marines behind it. All of the followers of Slanesh, the Demonettes, are over here in a big pile, and the 2 Obliterators are in the centre there, and the 2 Spawn of Nurgle are off to this edge as well. Mark has scouted forward with his Land Speeder Storm there with the scouts on board, and now I'm going to try and seize the initiative. Wish me luck. Here comes a 6. No, it's a 2, similar to a 6, so Mark gets first turn.
Interesting news by the way, before we disappear. Curly's scared of the fake candles.
I am scared of fake candles. There is a these are fake candles, look, they look very good. But there's a psychological thing, you just don't want to put your arm above a candle. You try it one time, your brain doesn't want you to do it. Mark thinks it's funny, I think it's not.
Right, this is the end of the Space Marine turn 1. I pretty much just held my position. Obviously I far outshoot him, so I just need him to come to me a little bit before I'll start committing my forces. Not the best, not the worst of turns. Most of my stuff was kind of out of range due to his sort of careful deployment and sort of trying to stay out of line of sight. The thing that did the best really was the Land Speeder here managed to get up and got right into Demonettes, obviously a massive threat. I killed about 6 or 7 of them with the Land Speeder, which is really good. Other than that, I've just sort of plinked off a wound off the spawn, and I've killed about 6 or 7 zombies with the Thunderfire cannon. I think these guys managed to kill 1 as well. I did quite well here with the rocket launchers, using perfect timing, ignoring cover and rerolls to hit. I managed to take out the Rhino for first blood, and I killed 1 of the guys in the explosion. So that is the end of my turn.
Okay, Forces of Chaos, turn 1. So, first things first, the scouts are in the centre there, so my Plague Marines, who have been dumped out of their Rhino last turn, moved back to there and melter-gunned it in the back. Mark failed one of his cover saves and I blew it up. I then charged the contents and chopped them all up, and my champion managed to win a challenge, and he got some icy aura thing, which is never going to have a point in the game. Other than that, the Demonettes moved forward. They moved up, so if I failed to melt-a-gun the Land Speeder, they could have charged in and killed it with their rending attacks, but once I popped it, I then decided to run them forwards, so they moved up a little bit. The Screamer Star, he successfully cast, I call it a Screamer Star, it's not really a star, it has 1 herald in it, so it's just a Screamer unit really. He cast the 4+ invulnerable power and decided not to cast any other powers just due to didn't want to perils, and they were not going to be of any use. He moved up to there, and then he used his Grimoire, but unfortunately failed his Grimoire check, so they turbo boosted, so they get a 4+ cover save, but no 2+ rerollable invulnerable save for them this turn. I was at a real quandary what to do with the Demon Prince. He started off over here, and he wasn't in range of doing any vector strikes on anything, and Mark has 2 Storm Talons coming in next turn, and he has Skyfire on his Long Fangs, so wherever the Demon Prince moved, he's basically just going to get shot out the air. So I decided to move over this way, so if he brings his Storm Talons on, he's really got to put them down here, just meaning then my army might be able to move past them next turn, making them slightly less useful. But with their turrets, it's not that much of a brilliant move, but it is. He's moved there. These ran forwards quite a distance and are in range of threatening some of Mark's stuff next turn. The Plasma Gun Plague Marines moved up there and managed to shoot to death 2 of Mark's Devastator squad, which was quite useful, but he passed his leadership check. And over here the zombies just marched forward 6 in an implacable wave. Anything else? The Obliterators, I managed to get a focus fire shot on Mark's Tech Marine. The Thunderfire cannon was in cover, but the Tech Marine wasn't. But Mark, obviously being night fighting, and he went to ground and made his 4+ cover save. But it means the Thunderfire cannon can't shoot this turn, and that can deal an awful lot of damage to my very flimsy infantry army that I've got. So, a reasonable turn 1, but the Grimoire failing was the most important role of the turn. Let's see if Mark can capitalise on his.
Right, this is the end of my turn 2. Quite swingy turn, as you'll probably find out as I go more into it. So this turn I popped my combat doctrine, tactical doctrine, sorry, to give me pretty much all my armies got twin linked, which is an incredibly powerful ability, especially when Tiggy prescience about the only thing that can't. And as you know, the Grimoire, or I don't remember if that got caught on camera, the Grimoire failed on this unit, which meant with all the melter guns and multi-melters and missile launchers down here, I was actually doing quite a lot of instant deaths, and most of the rest of this kind of little conglomerate kind of fired into Screamers. So I killed every single Screamer, but I haven't put a single wood on this guy, is that right?
Yeah, I failed every side. I didn't even roll 1s, did I?
Yeah.
I just rolled 2s and 3s, and then when you got to him, I just rolled 5s and 6s continually.
So yeah, my 2 my two flying chickens came on, and they were attempting to kill the Demon Prince. Obviously, you can tell by the fact he's still there. They didn't even manage to do a single wound. I then proceeded to fire this squad at them, even with the plasma, and he is grounded. Even they failed to do a single wound. Down here, the 10 guys down here in two different squads. They managed to kill one of the spawn, and I think the other one's still just got one wound. Is that right?
Yeah, he's got 2 wounds left. He's taken 1.
Yeah, so not too bad. My Legion of Damned did come in. They deep struck. I was aiming for the blitz. Even with my reroll, though, I scattered off the board. However, they're just in normal reserve. So that is the end of an interesting turn 2.
Okay, it is Chaos turn 2. So starting at this side of the board, Typhus used a couple of psychic powers. He made these guys get hot and gave -1 strength over there where the Demon Prince is engaged in combat, but neither did really much. Oh, I lie. The gets hot killed a Marine when I attempted a charge with the zombies. Over here, the Nurgle Marines, some went this way and they put a melter gunner at the front, and he was just in range of the Rhino that was there that had 10 Marines inside. Managed to hit and popped it, which was good. Did a massive explosion, took out 2 of my Demonettes but didn't hurt any Space Marines. Around here, these guys, I forgot to fire these guys! Dear me, I am silly. They were hiding behind this large lady.
I'll go see if you want.
Okay, Mark is going to kindly let me do those. I'll do those after the video. He's a good opponent, is Mark. Helldrake came on, probably the most important thing of this turn. He vector struck on top of the Red Storm Talon and managed to get 4 hits on it, but unfortunately only got 1 pen through and stopped it from firing this next turn. But that's pretty reasonable, we don't want it to fire. He then breathed fire over here. He clipped the end of this squad, killed 1 Marine, and killed all 5 Stern Guard in Tigris' squad, which was quite nice. The Demon Prince just hopped over the top there and charged in against this combat squad of Marines down here. The fact Mark's combat squad in all his units is really good for him, because it means I'm finding it really hard to get decent engagements that will keep me locked in for the turn, or so you'd think. The Demon Prince's Black Mace backfired on him and bit him in the ass, and he only managed to kill 2 or 3 Space Marines. And then the others did no wound back to him, but they got caught up in combat, so they just got locked there, which means he can't shoot me in his turn, which is a pretty good result. My Chaos Spawn down here managed to get into combat with these 5 Space Marines, which you get to consolidate, Mark, forgot to do that. But they managed to kill him before he got to strike in combat, which was nasty. The Demonettes in the centre, I attempted to charge with the Plague Marines to draw off some of the Overwatch fire, and then they piled in. They tried a multi-assault, not that I thought I would get the multi-assault, but mainly to reduce their number of attacks so that the squad they assaulted would still be there for me to kill on my turn, so I didn't get shot to crap. I also managed to Grimoire them, so they're on a 3+ invulnerable at the moment. I only managed to kill 2 of his Marines, which was bad rolling on my behalf, but was good for me. And he made his leadership test, and we're locked in combat there as well, which is nice. Anything I'm forgetting? I don't think so. The Obliterators tried to force some wounds onto the Thunderfire cannon using their plasma cannons, but Mark made his cover save and I only really got 1 wound through anyway, so it wasn't going to do a whole lot. So overall, a pretty good turn for me there. Let's see what I can do with my shooting, and then it'll be Mark's turn.
Right, this is the end of quite an interesting Space Marine turn 3. So this turn I popped my Devastator banner. These guys are basically playing op, run away from the zombies, which is fine. The 2 rocket launchers fired flat missiles into Helldrake and managed to get a glance on there. Tigerius has cast a 4-up invulnerable on these guys, and they charged into the Demonettes. They lost, I did roll particularly well on my save. I lost 2 here, and I think about 2 or 3 from the other squad, but I've got 1 man that's held, which is good. So at least that squad is tied up for Curdy's turn as well. And he's now joined this squad. The Thunderfire Cannon, he fired down into the zombies and the Plague Marines. I rolled really well on my scatter dice, but Cody made almost all his saves, so I only killed 1 zombie and 1 Plague Marine. Down here, sorry for the shaky cam there, guys. These guys are just pushing up, and between sort of various bits of shooting, I managed to kill 1 more Plague Marine down here. And these Plagues are proving to be pretty goddamn tough for me. Right, over here we have the Storm Talon gunship, because it's got a nice turret weapon, has fired backwards and taken a wound off one of the Blitz. Legion of Damned did a nice little deep strike down here, and they managed to pop the Grimoire Herald, which is really useful. The other Storm Talon has flown back on into reserves. However, the start of the show for my all-star cast has got to be This humble Marine down here, he's just within 6 inches to chuck a crack grenade up here. With the reroll from the Devastation banner, managed to get penetration through because I'm chucking it up his arse.
Well, we all know the flamers are built on the arse.
Absolutely goddamn. And this has resulted in the Bale Flamer being weapon destroyed. So that turned what was otherwise quite a poor turn into actually reasonably decent turn. As expected, the Demon Prince has killed and raining 2 guys, is now consolidated a little bit closer. So, still hanging in the balance here. I mean, going to have to start sort of playing for objectives and stuff like that. So, end of my turn 3.
Okay, Chaos turn 3. So, over here, the zombies spread out into a massive dog pile everywhere, and then this end of the dog pile moved over and engaged the Legion of the Damned. I hit them loads of times, did loads of wounds, but didn't kill any because they're pretty hardy, but they're engaged in combat, and Typhus will be with us in a round or 2. These Plague Marines down here with 1 remaining plasma gunner took a pop shot up at the Storm Talon, but didn't manage to hit it, nearly killed myself with Gets Hot. Over here, these Plague Marines moved round here, some remaining in cover just so it was hard to wipe out the whole unit, and these guys stretched this way with the intent of blowing up the Rhino that Tigris was in using our melter gun, but the Helldrake swept over the top of it and blew it up using his claws. So that was quite nice. The Helldrake, even with that breath weapon, is pretty dangerous. So I then focused the fire of these guys and killed 2 members of a 5-man squad of Tactical Marines. There's an awful lot of 5-man squads of Tactical Marines left on this board. The Obliterators moved sideways and wanted to put a bit of pressure on this objective as Mark was coming in with a few squads. I assault cannoned the front squad, they went to ground, but I still managed to kill 3 members of them, so that was nice. The Demonettes killed the last remaining guy in combat and have spread out, but they fear the worst as they're sitting in the open and are no longer Grimoired. The Demon Prince, seizing the opportunity presented by a blown up Rhino, leapt over and engaged Tigris' squad in combat. The coward that Tigris is refused to engage in a challenge, so the Demon Prince ate the sergeant of the squad first. What else happened? I don't think anything else happened, actually. That was it. It was a reasonably quick turn. Not a lot happened, but pretty good one. Nothing bad happened, at least. Okay, this is the end of Space Marine turn 4. So game's certainly starting to heat up now. I realise the Blitz are going to cause me major problems, potentially contest that objective, so I poured a reasonable amount of firepower in from these squads and eventually took a lucky missile shot from here. Has managed to kill one of the Obliterators, and the other one's obviously still taken 1 wound. Storm Chicken has come on and has killed the Hell Turkey, which is always nice. Demon Prince smashed out Tiggy and his buddy, so that's not so great. Pretty much an all-star. This is as good as everyone says it is. The ability to barrage has meant I actually went for the Plagueys down here, which are no longer there, but I actually managed to get a lot more hits on the zombies that weren't involved in the combat. 8 zombies.
So yeah, 8 zombies from that. Plus the squad has still of Legion of Damned still hasn't taken a wound yet, and they killed a few more in the combat, which is really, really powerful. The 3 Plague Marines that were, or the 3 or 4 Plague Marines that were sticking out here, they got picked off by sort of my melter fire and sort of different bits and miscellaneous fire from sort of these sorts of squads here. And my other Storm Talon is down there. He went into hover mode this turn. He turned around and he killed 3 of the remaining Plague Marines down there. So currently, none of us are really actually scoring a single objective yet. I play down tech lead doing that, so we'll just have a quick. Is it? No, you're second, aren't you? So
yep.
After Curly's turn 4, we'll get a little rundown, and you can see sort of who's looking at getting the objectives.
Yep. Okay, so it is Demons and Chaos Space Marines, turn 4. Now, because I'm going out shortly for the evening, we have decided at this point that we shall call it a day at the end of turn 5, so we each get another turn. We never like playing a game when you don't get at least turn 5 done. So, looking at the table, I'll do what happened during my turn first, not a whole lot. The Obliterator over here moved forwards. He didn't fire his gun because he wanted to be certain of the charge, and he engaged this squad of Space Marines there. They didn't hit me with Overwatch. Mark's Overwatch this game has been appalling. I mean, he's had about 1 wound. He didn't do any wounds with his Overwatch, and I thumped one of his dudes with my Power Fist and took no wounds in return. So we're locked in combat there, and I'm literally standing on the objective. Over here, because last turn Mark had used Tigris to give a 4+ invulnerable save to this squad of 5 Space Marines that were here, because he expected a lot of return fire on them from the squads that he then subsequently killed. I jumped my Demon Prince over here and engaged them in combat, hoping that with their invulnerable save they would survive the combat. I managed to do 4 wounds to them, which was pretty ideal. Killed the 4, and there's 1 dude left, and Mark didn't run away. So that's pretty brilliant there. So I'm locked in combat during Mark's turn, which I have been for most turns of the game. I've left all that stuff over there because I don't really have a whole lot left on the table, but I do have these 3 Plague Marines here who have run into these ruins and are occupying this objective in there. Probably going to get thunder fired, but what are you going to do? Over here, Typhus has finally made it to combat with the Legion of the Damned, who have just... I haven't done a single wound with all my zombies, and I've got about 12, 13 zombies left, so those Legion of the Damned have been doing a great job there. But Typhus finally made combat and was promptly challenged by Mark's Sergeant. I managed to kill his Sergeant just, so next turn I basically have to slash that Sergeant to death, that squad to death with my Demon weapon, else I'm not going to be scoring any objectives as they're right in the centre. There's one there, and this one over here which I already occupy. So at the end of my turn 4, I occupy this one objective here. This one over here is contested. Nobody's scoring these 2. The one back here, nobody's scoring at the minute, but Mark is pretty close by and he's got a couple of squads who I imagine he's going to send over towards it. These guys over here, there are these 2 squads that can probably get on this objective, which I imagine he'll do, so it'll come down to this Obliterator combat. As far as secondary objectives go, I killed Tigorus, who was Mark's Warlord, so I've got 1 from that. And I don't think... Mark's got Linebreaker over here with his Legion of the Damned, doubly meaning I need to kill them. I got Linebreaker over there with my Demon Prince, and Mark got First Blood, so we're drawing on secondaries at the moment. So it's overall a really close game. Let's see what happens in the last couple of turns.
Right, this is the end of Space Marine turn 5. You're going to have to apologise for a bit of baby noise in the background, but my little Nurgling's hungry, so Papa Nurgle will feed him shortly. Right, so down here I had to commit some extra Space Marines to try and take on the Demon Prince. I managed to get in there and I'm still tying him up, which is kind of good enough to me. This has meant I've got enough guys down here to score this unit, which is good for me. However, not all was well in my turn. Down here, I committed another squad to try and take out this Oblit, because obviously if I get the Oblit down then I've scored that objective. But he's still there and obviously that's an ongoing combat. The 2 Storm Talons tried to kill the 3 Space Marines with the Thunder Fire Cannon. And as you'll see, there is unfortunately 1 little git left. So Curly is currently scoring that objective. Down here, you'll notice the combat hasn't really changed a great deal. Typhus rolled really bad, which has meant I just killed a few more zombies and I made my invulnerable saves. So, scores on the doors right now is I'm holding... Michael is holding 1 objective.
This is Michael, chap.
And I am holding 1 objective. Secondaries haven't changed, with us still having 2 apiece. So, the way and Curly's turn, if I can kill him, then I can potentially win the game. If he can wipe me out here, he can then move off and score an objective, and he stops me getting Linebreaker. So, still the last turn of the game, all to play for. Bloodbath.
So it is end of Chaos turn 5, and it is the end of the game, as we had previously told you. So, what happened this turn? Firstly, the Demon Prince over here, he massacred the 2 Space Marines he was in, and then consolidated backwards, just to guarantee. We hadn't actually measured it prior, to guarantee that he was in Linebreaker, so now he definitely is. Over here, the Oblit held. He managed to kill... Oh no, he didn't even kill another Space Marine. They just batted off each other. Mark is obviously still holding this objective, because I didn't have enough stuff left to put any pressure on him there. My dude down here is still happily holding his objective, but unfortunately, look here. I think I engaged them on my turn 3 with 35 zombies and a Typhus, and there's still 3 of them left.
Yeah, but taking out a massive clump of the Thunder Fire.
Yeah, the Thunder Fire had taken out a huge number. And I just couldn't wound you. It wasn't even your good rolling. I was just not rolling particularly well. But
I wasn't doing great damage back.
No, that's it. I mean, we were both rolling pretty poor. Typhus came in, but 3 up invulnerable. They're survivable, aren't they? That's their job. They've done really well. I was impressed by them this game.
Yeah, I really liked them.
So if the game had gone on, Mark still had 2 of these left, which was basically his ace in the hole. They could do a lot of damage, and I had my Demon Prince left. But on the base of it, Mark was probably slightly ahead, really. But the game is a draw, due to I got the Warlord point for killing Tiberius with the old Demon Prince over there, and Mark got the First Blood with the Rhino down here, turn 1, and we both have the Linebreakers and 1 objective. But overall, really good game. It was very swingy, wasn't it? I was really worried first turn, because you got first turn on me and you had quite a lot of firepower. But I think the second turn, when you emptied most of your army into the Demon Prince and he laughed at you.
Demon Prince is probably your MVP by a long shot. I just couldn't hurt him, he just went through it, took out
after that,
he just fire.
I think he killed 1 squad, 2 squad, Tiberius and another squad, came back over here, killed another 2 squads.
Yeah.
So
And the amount of fire
brutal.
I took as well.
Yeah,
I mean, every chance I've got, I've tried to put it down. But
I think I was pretty lucky. I mean, I played to try and do it, but I think I was quite lucky in that I was always engaged in your turn wherever possible.
Yeah.
And some of those, you were quite, I think twice you were left with one man in the squad at the end, and he didn't kill them.
It's been a very, very interesting, close, enjoyable actually. I really like it.
Yeah, it's really good.
But because Legion of Damn impressed me. I think the ability to deep strike reliably with melt and stuff like that wasn't the opportune target.
Yeah,
but
I mean, yeah, my army's not the best to play against, but they were still, and they held up the zombies. Those zombies, I was certain were going to score an objective. They were just, I put 30 zombies and typhus in, that's an objective scored for me.
That's it, yeah.
But no, because they all clumped round and couldn't get out, they were locked up. I think I should have probably got Typhus to leave the squad, because there wasn't a whole lot you had left to kill him with on this side of the table, so he could have gone and just contested this objective back here and just threatened those squads.
It was a tough one. I wasn't expecting the Plagueys were brilliant in this game.
Yeah.
They just
so survivable.
Fire and stuff like that. They're just so.
Yeah, because you spent 2 to 3 turns storm tallying them, and they just stood there, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean the storm talons did. I was really happy with the storm talons. I mean, I think actually if we kind of all of us looked at the game, no unit didn't do its job. Every unit did well. It's why it's such an interesting game. You know, the Blitz put out a lot of firepower. And they did a lot of damage. And
that's
they
it. And
in combat.
And they were better than what's it called? What are the close combat obliterators?
Mutilators.
What's the point of the mutilator? This guy's just as good in close combat. He's got a power fist every turn.
Yeah, and you know, every unit, Devastator's done well. All my tack squads did the business. Your zombies, you know. I mean,
I think I mean, my zombies were just there to score, but I think I probably misplaced them. You know, I certainly misplaced Typhus. I should have been more aggressive with him with a different unit, maybe.
Maybe a bit sort of autopilot-ish, really.
Yeah, basically, I just kind of put them in as like, guard these objectives, which I suppose they kind of did, but I just wanted them. They're not very good in combat, even though there's lots of attacks. They just don't do anything. It was the other
reason why I wanted to put my Legion of the Damned down there, because you got so many objectives around there. I knew you'd have to go.
That's it. And I had other small squads, and none of them would be able to deal with them. So I had to really commit back with them, and that stopped them threatening your objective back over there. The Oblitz kind of like tying up a lot of your stuff this side was pretty good for me as well.
Well, you put so much threats down my throat, I had to, you know, originally I wanted to target his troops, but there was so many important stuff I had to kill at different stages in the game. You know, I think the Demonettes did quite well for you as well.
Yeah, I mean, my second turn after I got massacred, my Screamer Council, I say council again, not really a council, when the Screamers got massacred, I had to kind of like alter plan, and I basically threw everything down this side and decided to try and pressure and then swing round and just have the zombies as a block that side. The turn when you would use your Ultramarines re-roll to hit with tactical squads, 5 tactical squads, it was just...
absolutely brilliant. Just every one of those combat directions is useful, I think. I think under Ultramarines with Tigerius are going to be really... You know, interesting.
That's it. You used the assault one at the end to make sure you got into the Demon Prince, which locked him up for a turn, stopped him contesting your objective, and it also got you in down here with an extra man.
Snapshot let me take out the Helldrake with a crack grenade.
Yeah, that's it. And obviously the mass firepower from the other one was just awesome.
Yeah. So really, really interesting, really enjoyable game. Lots of, you know, I'm glad like the decks. You know, you and I both enjoy the Code Space Marine codex.
Great codex, really good. And I mean, I don't think the Chaos Space Marine dex is particularly brilliant, but I think once you mix in the Chaos Demons, it, as people say, it really rounds off the codex and just gives you the more viable units to use. I really like Big Squad of Demonettes, because they're less than 200 points for those 20 Demonettes. And they absorbed a load of fire, they killed a load of stuff, they were just really good and really fast.
I mean, it certainly helped that we both sort of knew beforehand that we was taking a attack list.
Yeah, that's it. We said before, we spoke yesterday, and we said bring all comers, so I wasn't going to bring a proper Screamer Star, and Mark wasn't going to go kind of hundreds of Terminators or anything like that. So it was... I think the best games are generally take all comers versus take all comers. They're just because otherwise it can get a bit rock paper scissorsy, can't it? If you bring a list that just can't be dealt with by your opponent, it's no fun for either player.
Yeah, I mean, I generally enjoy playing attack list anyway. I prefer the versatility and stuff like that. So, and I think certainly the Ultramarine Codex, it's probably out of all the decks I think released so far, it doesn't have the outright power, but it can operate every single phase well. You know, it's got really tricksy movement units in like the scouts or stuff like that, and the white scouts.
Yeah, they were really good. The scouting forwards. I mean, obviously I killed them, but they took out over half the Demonettes in that first round.
That was it. And you know, you talk about making the points back and all that kind of stuff, but it's just the threat and the damage they sort of did was quite interesting. So I mean, that was kind of, I suppose, an ideal target. But even so, it's a useful threat to put on the board for what it does.
That is. What do you reckon your most valuable player was? I'm thinking both our most valuable players are probably in shot now.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Legion of Damned?
Legion of Damned actually probably won you the game, but the Thunderfire just put... I mean, the Thunderfire didn't do brilliantly in any turn. no turns I thought, oh, that did brilliantly.
Well, it did crap the first. Well,
but it just killed so much stuff anyway. So
it just sits there and plings and plings and plings.
Yeah. What standards do we set for it? Only killed 10 models that turn.
Yeah. No, I love the first time I used the Thunder Fire, and I'm definitely going to bring it back. It's a brilliant, as you said, it done really well. It's a really interesting, cool unit. So. And
I knew it was so threatening to my list, and because my list had so little firepower in it, I never actually got round to dealing with it. I had the one chance turn one with the Obliterators because I could get a focus fire shot on the Tech Marine with some las cannons, but other than that I couldn't really put any fire on it. Yeah,
it's the same as, you know, I tried to shoot the Emperor when I could, but I just couldn't. You know, I wanted to kill your Plague Marines because they score a unit whole rounding out melting guns, but I never had a real, until right at the end of the game, I couldn't, just because there's so many threats down my throat. So lots of cool and interesting stuff happened, I suppose.
Yeah, really good game. Thanks, mate.
No worries.
We'll be back with you soon.